The comic genius, Charlie Chaplin, was nearly assassinated by Japanese Buddhists. In 1932, this unlikely scenario almost became reality. But what could possibly lead religious figures to target the world-renowned entertainer? Join us as we take you through this gripping tale of how Chaplin narrowly escaped death and why a group of Buddhist assassins wanted him dead. It was May 15, 1932, and Charlie Chaplin had a front row seat at a sumo wrestling match in Tokyo. Alongside him was Takeru Inuke, the son of Japan's prime minister. The two were enjoying the excitement of the ring when their day took a shocking turn. In the midst of the spectacle, Takeru received the news no one wants to hear. His father, Prime Minister Tsuyoshi Inuke, had been assassinated. The room's mood shifted instantly. Chaplin, who had been enjoying a unique cultural experience, now found himself witnessing a deeply personal and national tragedy. Takeru's reaction was a mixture of disbelief and raw emotion, a moment that stuck with Chaplin for years to come. What had begun as a thrilling sports outing had become an unforgettable snapshot of a nation in turmoil. The assassination, executed by young naval officers, marked a turning point in Japan's political landscape, shaking the very foundations of its government. The political landscape that nearly ensnared Chaplin had deep roots in Japan's aggressive growth. Since the mid-19th century, Japan had been flexing its muscles, grabbing territories like Taiwan in 1895 and moving into parts of China. This territorial expansion stirred national pride but also fueled divisions. Groups began to rise, pushing for even more control over other lands. The Black Dragon Society, started in 1901, promoted the idea of a grand Japanese empire and made their influence felt in both government and military circles. This push for more land, along with brief democratic experiments like the Taisho democracy from 1912 to 1926, set the stage for conflict. When Emperor Hirohito took the throne in 1926, a new era began, leading to a stronger focus on military power. The army's invasion of Manchuria in 1931, done without government consent, exposed the shaky control the civilian government had over the military. The rise of strong nationalistic feelings, believing in Japan's right to rule Asia, led to internal power battles, political killings, and a move towards a more forceful foreign approach. In this unstable environment, the death of Prime Minister Inuke and Chaplin's close call were just signs of a nation struggling with its direction and place in the world. This was a critical time that shaped not only Japan, but had lasting impacts globally. Following Japan's ambitious global pursuits, an unexpected ally emerged in the form of Buddhism, seemingly contradicting its peaceful teachings. Buddhism, known for its emphasis on compassion and nonviolence, saw some of its factions lend spiritual weight to Japan's expansionist goals. The portrayal of war wasn't as a destructive force, but as a divine noble path, a way to bring the world under the protective umbrella of Buddhism. Renowned Buddhist figures voiced their support. This was more than just a spiritual quest. It was a nationalist agenda wrapped in religious fervor. In the eyes of these Buddhist figures, the conquest of Japan was not seen merely as territorial or political, but as a sacred mission. For instance, a notable quote from the time professed, "In order to establish a world Buddhist empire, we should first start by conquering Japan." But herein lies the paradox. The very act of championing aggressive nationalism went against the grain of basic Buddhist principles. Central to this shift was the influence of Nichirenism. This sect uniquely marred politics with religion. Advocates believed that Japan had a divine mission, and any violence committed in the name of Buddhism was not only justifiable, but necessary. The intertwining of religious conviction with militaristic nationalism led to a potent and, at times, dangerous mix. With Buddhism's deep-rooted influence in the country, such beliefs only added fuel to the fiery spirit of Japanese expansionism. The amalgamation of religion and nationalism didn't just stop at ideological rhetoric. It took a dark and dangerous turn. Two extremist groups, the League of Blood and the Cherry Blossom Society, emerged with a common agenda: the belief that assassinating a few key figures would bring about sweeping changes in Japanese society. The League of Blood, formed in 1931, set the precedent by targeting influential businessmen and politicians. They carried out the infamous assassination of the director of Mitsui Holding Company in 1932, sending shockwaves throughout Japan. Their goal was to eliminate those perceived as threats to the true path of the nation. The Cherry Blossom Society, an ultra-nationalistic organization, followed suit. Composed mostly of young military officers, they were ready to kill for their beliefs. They viewed key politicians, thinkers, and even entertainers like Chaplin as hindrances to Japan's divine mission. This climate of fear and radicalism was more than a mere undercurrent. It was a calculated movement aimed at removing any obstacle to their vision of Japan. While Chaplin was a more unconventional target, he had become a symbol of what they viewed as corrupting Western influences. The stage was set, and the plot was in motion to take down those who stood in their way. In the midst of this chaos, Charlie Chaplin's visit to Japan in 1932 became a notable event. Invited to promote his movie City Lights, he was greeted with enthusiastic fanfare. But the trip took an ominous turn when Chaplin missed a dinner that could have led to his death. On May 15, 1932, Chaplin was attending a sumo wrestling event with the Prime Minister's son. The missed dinner that night coincided with the tragic May 15th incident where Prime Minister Tsuyoshi Inuke was assassinated by naval officers. Chaplin's association with the Prime Minister's family and his presence in Japan during this volatile time put him unwittingly at the crossroads of history. Chaplin's visit, meant to be a celebration of art, had become entangled with political assassination and unrest. The missed dinner was a stroke of luck that likely saved his life, and his trip to Japan turned into a historic anecdote. The plot to assassinate Charlie Chaplin took a dark and bizarre turn as it was rooted in a misguided belief that his death would ignite a war between Japan and America. The conspirators, driven by nationalistic fervor, saw Chaplin as an influential American figure, whose high-profile assassination would send shockwaves across the globe. Yet, the irony lay in the fact that Chaplin was actually British, not American, a critical detail overlooked by the plotters in their haste. Chaplin himself, always one to find humor in the oddest situations, later joked about the incident in public speeches and interviews. Reflecting on the twisted logic and the almost comical confusion of his nationality, he quipped, "They must have mistaken me for Rin Tin Tin." Yet, beneath this jest, Chaplin was deeply unsettled. Friends and close associates noted a visible change in him post the incident. He found himself ruminating on the fragility of life and the unpredictable nature of fame. The event served as a stark reminder that his global recognition, while a boon for his career, also made him vulnerable in unexpected ways. The laughter and comedic facades he wore on stage couldn't mask the real concern he felt for his safety and the changing world around him. For Chaplin, Japan's tumultuous political landscape wasn't just a distant headline. It had become a personal and alarming reality. The unexpected target on Charlie Chaplin during his visit to Japan reveals more than just an unusual footnote in history. It exposes a rising tide of nationalism that eventually swept Japan into the chaos of World War II. Chaplin's unwitting entanglement with Japanese politics did not end with the sumo event. He found himself in Japan during the February 26th incident, again in close proximity to political unrest. But how did Chaplin become so deeply embroiled in Japan's complex political landscape? Does his involvement hold lessons for us today as we navigate the thin lines between culture, power, and belief? If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe.